Hey guys, what is up? Exodus Gaming here, bringing you an analysis of the newest Persona 5 trailer. I was really happy to see this morning. I think a lot of us were anticipating some gameplay and how the game actually looked in game. And I was really happy to see what I did, and I was happy that they showed as much as they did, even though that the game didn't really get a firm release date. But if this is any indication, we might even see this game come out this holiday, in Japan at least. But I mean, for you importers out there, if you want to, go for that, definitely. But what I really wanted to do was share with you some of my 2 cents regarding what I had seen in the trailer. So without further ado, I want to jump right into it. So right after this Atlas logo, we are introduced to the cityscape of, I'm not really sure which city it is, I'll be honest with you. It could be a fictional representation of, Tokyo, maybe a part of Tokyo. It could be like Persona 3 or the actual Personas, other Personas actually, where they have fictional places, like the Tatsumi Port Island. So perhaps this is just a fictional city, but maybe looks like its real counterpart in the real world. But I'm actually happy that they're returning to the whole city environments and setting, and the fact that it's being developed on PlayStation 4, aside from the PS3. Maybe they will introduce us to some open environments where we can explore, maybe give us the ability to go into buildings. But again, first and foremost, it was being developed on the PS3, so perhaps it may be limited more so than we think, but one can only hope that we get to play in a more open world environment. But in any case, we are taken to this next scene, which takes place in a casino. We have some slot machines going on, Pachenko, we got a roulette wheel there in the back. We got some security guards wandering the hall, and most importantly, we are introduced to our main character once again. This time he bears a more confident look about him, and he is wearing this mask, and the mask is a big takeaway because it kind of falls into the whole Persona theme of the game series, where people wear masks all the time to hide their inner selves, their true selves. So perhaps his true self is this new confident expression. You could tell from that smirk that he has a little bit more of a, I guess, cocky attitude with what he's doing or what he's about to do. Maybe the mask has a way of bringing out his confidence and allowing him to take confrontations and battles easier. But in this case, it seems like he's about to, well, commit a crime at least. He looks to me like a thief, and you'll see a better idea of what I'm talking about in a moment. He like breaks out of that building and boom, he kind of looks like some kind of thief, like especially with the black jacket and the gloves and the boots and everything, and especially the mask. I mean, obviously you would hide your identity during a theft. You wouldn't really show your face. So I'm guessing that he's some kind of bandit or thief that had just taken something, and I would assume from the casino for whatever reason. But he is met with a bright light, perhaps from law enforcement. So it kind of brings a lot of things to mind. Maybe you have to deal with other human beings in the real world, not just shadows and demons in whatever world you may enter this time around. I mean, we had the Shadow World in Persona 4, you had Tartarus in Persona 3, so in any other case, we may be challenged with fighting or dealing with other human beings like police officers and law enforcement. But going further along in the trailer, we are reintroduced to the director and the character designer. You got Katsura Hashino, and You got the Shigenori Sojima. I don't know why I had a hard time reading that, but this guy pretty much makes like the best art. Like in any Atlus game that you may have played, you can notice from the character's design that it's this guy. Like he has such a distinct art style that you could probably decipher right away who drew what and which character was designed by who. But in any case, more importantly, Shoji Meguro is returning as the composer for this series, and he has a very, very great taste in music. I do love his jazzy type beats. I truly believe that Persona cannot exist without this guy. Like he sets such a very specific tone for each situation and for, you know, every character. Like he's a theme for everything, and the themes match very well with the whole, like, you know, city life or countryside, I guess, type environments in Persona 4. But in any other case, no matter what Persona he worked on, he always had this jazzy type feel to his work, this like jazzy electronica type of music. So I'm really glad that he's back for that. But this is just an introduction. They were briefly showing the other main characters in your party. We'll get to that soon, but most importantly, Igor has 2 new attendants, it looks like. These 2 younger girls, apart from Margaret and her sister Elizabeth. So I'm not so sure who those 2 girls are, but I'm pretty sure they'll shed more light upon who they are in the further days to come. But Igor is back, and it seems like the Velvet Room is returning in the form of a prison. And back to what I was saying before about the main character being a thief, it kind of makes sense. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe the good guys are actually bad guys, but we have this prison theme. Even the attendants look like police officers with their hats and uniforms and ties and whatnot. But yeah, Igor's going to have another role in here. He's probably going to have you sign a contract. You know, he was usually there to fuse your personas. He's always been a big part of the Persona series, so it's glad to see that he is back again in this latest chapter of Persona. But going forward, we have this weird being that kind of looks like a Persona. I can't help but wonder if he's going to be like, or he or it is the main antagonist of the game, but I mean, they cared enough to show him in the trailers, so it may be possible that this particular figure, just going to go back again, this particular figure may be one of the main antagonists or bosses in the game. And what's worth noting too, there's a chain coming from him, and chains seem to be a very prevalent theme in this Persona, at least. In the very, very, very first teaser of Persona 5, they talk about slavery, and they talk about, you know, seeking emancipation or seeking freedom. So I think freedom and being enslaved has a big part of the theme in this game, and it makes sense since you're a thief. Like maybe your freedom was literally stolen from you and you're trying to steal your freedom back, and maybe you're bound by some kind of like contract, or, you know, in order to get yourself out of the contract they have to do certain things that they wouldn't normally do. I don't know, this is just hearsay conjecture at this point, but the main theme here seems to be like, you know, slavery, you're enslaved, you're imprisoned, let's find a way out, or let's find a way to obtain your freedom again. So in any case, let's go forward here. You got the Persona 5 logo, you got the film grain going on, you got the red, white, and black going on, so those are the main colors of the game. I noticed that in like past games, like Persona 3, like the main color was like blue and green, and then Persona 4 was like yellow and black. So this time around we got red, white, and black, and that's what I like about Persona. They have these different themes that they carry in every iteration. And actually, to go back on that idea, the concept of the mask too. Very similar to what they've done before in past games, like Persona 3, you had the evokers, the guns that you pretty much pressed up to your head and you literally blew the persona out of your brain. And then Persona 4, you had the glasses that allowed you to see through the fog. And this time you have a mask. So each persona has like its own theme, and with it their own, I guess, tools and objects that represent that theme. So going forward again, we're going to see a little bit of the in-game engine soon after the Persona 5 logo here. Yeah, so this is our first glimpse of the in-game engine, and as you can see, it looks really good. It has this, you know, definitive anime type art style to it, and like I said before about the main character, look how timid he looks. He looks very different now than he did at the beginning of the trailer with his mask on, so this is every reason to suggest that maybe that mask is his source of strength, and again, that shows in his very timid and shy demeanor. But yeah, I mean, the in-game graphics look really good. I mean, it's nothing like too special, but again, the game is meant to be more of an anime-esque style, art style, pretty much. But in any case, it does look good. This is pretty much, I guess, your mode of transportation or main mode of transportation, and very much like the other Persona games, or Persona 3 and 4 mainly, you did have that transitional period between going from one place to another, so this could be just like a cinematic that plays when you take the train. Another train whizzes by, and here you are in the subway station or the train station. Now he's walking down here, and back to what I was saying back in the beginning about like open world environments. My question is, like, can you actually like go to the foreground here, or the background actually? Can you go like to the back and explore that area, or is this just like an automatic cinematic, or is this like, you know, a cinematic that you just watch as you're transitioning from one area to the other? I really hope that maybe you can explore the rest of the station, but in any case, the camera doesn't change, so I'm kind of guessing that, you know, this is just a static transitional phase between, like, you know, one area to the other. But in any case, like I was saying before about the city being a fictional city or a fictional setting, on the upper right hand corner you could see I guess that's the name of the city, Kakamichi. I'm guessing Kakamichi is the name of the city that this place, that the story takes place in, rather. So Kakamichi is the city. I mean, I can't really confirm that, but I'm just going by what I can see from that post. Maybe if I go a little bit forward here. It either looks like Kakamichi or Nakamichi. I think it's Kakamichi, based on what I've seen, but I could be wrong. I mean, my Japanese is not the best, but I mean, I don't speak Japanese, but I have like a faint familiarity with some words and sentences and stuff. But in any case, Kakamichi is the supposed name of this city. Here we are in the class setting, you know, the typical class setting, and as seen in Persona 3, or actually all the Personas take place in a school setting. I know I keep going back to Persona 3, but that was actually the first Persona I played in, so I may be referring to that a lot. But again, this is your typical school setting. Main character is dozing off there in the corner. You might see similar scenarios where you have to choose between staying awake and actually paying attention to the lecture, or if you've done a mission the night before, you want to rest up, make sure your stats are in check, you can choose to snooze in class. But we are also introduced to another main character. In front of him is the girl in pigtails. You may have seen her from the beginning, from the introduction, the introduction credits, actually, like back here. Just go back a little bit. yeah, that chick right there is her. So going forward, oops, I went too forward. I was actually gonna say, that was actually kind of funny. I kind of got a laugh out of that. But yeah, the teacher throws a piece of chalk at the main character, so maybe there's a way that you can sleep in class without getting caught, but in this case he did get caught, and therefore he faces very unfortunate embarrassment from his classmates. So we move forward here, and you probably already noticed on the upper left hand corner, that's what's keeping the time of day and, you know, the date and everything. But this is the part I was talking about, like open world settings, like this whole part of the game. Like maybe you can actually explore this part of the city, or maybe this is one part of the city. Just going forward here a little bit, like, I mean, there's a lot of people, a lot of NPCs out and about doing their own thing, but I mean, it could be just like one zone in the game, or like I said before, it could just be like limited to a cutscene. Maybe this is just a cutscene and you don't actually get to move around anywhere, but we're just gonna have to see when the next trailer comes out. But just going back a little bit, we are introduced again. We now know what the female character looks like up front. She's got the pigtail thing going on, very much so like Rise. Not so sure what kind of character she can be, but she seems like the typical pouty Japanese girl. And then on the left side here, you see another main character's face. Kind of reminds me of like the buddy type character, or the best friend character like Junpei from Persona 3, or Yosuke from Persona 4. But this seems like a dialogue transition over here. I'm pretty sure that there's supposed to be dialogue on the bottom of the screen, but since the game's still in development, maybe they didn't add that in. Also for plots, for the sake of conserving the plot. Also notice the cat too. He is also a main character that joins your party. Very much, very similar to like Teddy from Persona 4. It actually transforms into like a mascot too, so we'll see that in a moment. But yeah, this is kind of like a conversational part, and yeah, the female protagonist seems to be very pouty and very generic type of angry Japanese woman or girl, but this is the most important part here. It looks like this is their main hangout spot. Looks like a cafe somewhere in town. But most importantly, check out what is on the table. Kind of looks like blueprints for, like, you know, a mansion, or maybe it's the casino that they were raiding before, or at least the main character was raiding before. So my speculation here is that this is the main room where you make your planning, you decide your point of entry, maybe you discuss details of like mission objectives, and yeah, I mean, it seems like your typical hangout spot. Let me just go forward a little bit. You could also notice too, on the table, it's a better view of the place that you're supposed to be entering, or the dungeon you're supposed to be entering. So it's probably one of the precursors to a dungeon. Like maybe before you go into a dungeon, you have to make plans. You got to equip your weapons, your armor, or accessories, or you want to talk about who goes with who into the dungeon. Like you could decide party composition. But so far it seems like there's only 4 characters, so I don't think there's going to be any form of party composition or any changes to party composition. But again, it's still too early to make that assumption. Again, you see the cat there too. He's transformed into his mascot form, so it's not your typical cat. Probably a shadow like Teddy or Kuma from Persona 4. But yeah, this is your typical hangout spot, it looks like, and it looks like you will be doing most of your planning here before going on missions. And going forward here, more great animation from Atlus. They do very good animation, I must say. And the cat seems to be named Luxuria, and maybe is a persona. Not so sure about that, but it also looks like that the cat is wearing a mask over itself. Kind of ironic, because it is a cat wearing a cat mask. But again, it kind of goes into the whole bandit idea that I was going with, or the thief idea I was going with. But here, most importantly, we catch a glimpse of the menu screen, and what's really cool here, I mean, aside from the obvious bits like skill, item, equip, and persona, there is something called cooperation, and this may be an indication that there will be multiplayer in the game in the form of, like, I guess, like co-op. You could play with maybe 2 or 3 other players, maybe the other party members that you normally would control by yourself can be controlled by other players online. So that was a very interesting thing that I saw. Also, the party menu maybe suggests that there are more than just those 4 party members. Maybe later on you'll meet other characters that you can interact with and recruit. Therefore, you can change whoever you want in and out of your party. And of course, there is an option for mission, and the mission may, I mean, that menu may probably just tell you the objectives of your mission, or your side missions, or your side quests. They'll probably just give you an overview of what you have to do and what you have to do and where to go. But in any case, that was one of my big takeaways from that, the cooperation mode, and maybe the fact that you could change out your party. But if you take a look at the weapons here, this is like the equipment screen. His weapon, his main weapon, the main character's main weapon seems to be a dagger. It says roughly assassin's knife. So he uses daggers or knives, and he uses a gun. So you could probably see a dynamic where you have to switch weapons for certain enemies. Maybe guns are more effective against flying types, or maybe like slashing weapons are good against certain, like maybe armored types or light armored types. But in any case, you have 2 weapons. You have a melee weapon, you have a gun. You got a protector. I don't know what that is. Could be like a shield. The accessory seems to read fashion eyeglasses. Yeah, it's pretty much fashion eyeglasses. So I'm pretty sure accessories have their own effects that can augment your stats or give you certain like stat benefits. And the clothes, I guess, serves as your armor. I mean, I can't read kanji for the life of me, so I don't know what that says. But going forward, this looks like the shop too. You can maybe, actually it doesn't, I don't know if this is a shop or not. Maybe this is like an upgrade type system where you can upgrade your knife. Or maybe, oh no, this looks like a fusion system. Maybe you could fuse this weapon with another weapon, because it actually tells you the increase overall if you were to fuse them with another weapon, maybe. Not so sure, that's just speculation. Again, I can't read Japanese entirely, so I'm just going by what seems to be the case. So we see some guy here being possessed by Persona, or maybe a demon or a shadow. Whatever the supernatural force is, it seems to be demonic in presence here. It seems like he's also bleeding from the mouth here, so not very comforting, to say the least. But I want to say that he's being possessed by a shadow, so maybe shadows this time around have more of an impact controlling human beings in this world, or possessing human beings in this world. And he crashes through the tunnel there, and we are brought into another gameplay segment. This is like one of the dungeons, like maybe this is even the dungeon that you were looking at back over here at the table. Maybe it's that. Maybe that's the dungeon that you're supposed to be exploring, but could be anyone's guess at that point. But here, going back a little bit, you see these knight type characters. So I mean, it's very obvious that they're shadows or demons. They may be like very specific demons once you engage with them, but the overall dungeon looks really good, but this is my fear. I mean, it may be the quality of the video, but it looks like the graphics don't look up to par to what like a PS3 or a PS4 can deliver, especially a PS4. So my speculation is that this is a PS3 build. I mean, the textures are not that, you know, high res, and you see a lot of jaggies there. I mean, I'm not complaining about the graphics. I'm not saying graphics, like, is the best defining factor of a game, but you would kind of expect it to look, you know, a little bit more refined. But then again, the game is still in development. I'm not going to bash it for that. I'm not bashing it, just so you know. I'm not really bashing it. I'm just making an observation, but the game still looks really good. But here is what makes it even more interesting, at least the gameplay aspect of it. It seems like they're implementing a stealth system. So he's going from cover to cover before getting to this enemy over here, and as you probably are familiar with, in the past Persona games, you do have the ability to initiate preemptive attacks, and preemptive attacks pretty much put you in an advantage. You deal more damage to your opponent. I know in Persona 3 and Persona 4 you can attack your target before they reach you, therefore you do damage already, and the enemy is therefore weakened. So in this case, this might be a new way of beginning a preemptive strike on your enemy. So you're going from cover to cover, kind of like how the main character does right here. It looks very nice too. I do like the animations. It also exemplifies the fact that he's probably a thief or a rogue type character. And then here is also something that's really interesting. I just want to go frame by frame because it does go very quickly. You are in an infirmary, it looks like, and the doctor here seems to be well, more than just a doctor. It seems like she's got like a nuclear reactor going on in the background, but that's besides the point. The point is, there is a doctor, or it looks like she has an important role in sustaining your health. Everything's going way too fast. Let me just see if I could back up a little bit. So yeah, so if I go frame by frame, yeah, I can't really read kanji, but on the next screen here, her name is Takemi Tai, and I guess, I don't think she's part of your main cast, but I think she's a significant character enough to, I guess, provide you medical care. I mean, it says here Takemi Medical Clinic, so you'll probably coming back here multiple times to get your healing items and whatnot. And as seen here, you can see a lot of curatives consisting of supplements and potions. So those are most likely used for combat or for after combat to help heal up your characters. And then here we get some more animated footage of that. But then here we're also introduced to another shop, and I mean, obviously it's in English. It's the military shop, Untouchable. Munehisa Iwai, and here you can buy weapons and sell weapons. As you can see here, this is the assassin knife. He's got his handgun. I guess you can modify your weapons attributes here, but I'm not so sure about that. I'm only basing this off of assumption, but I mean, it is a weapon shop, so I would assume that there is some kind of crafting element to it, and that there's probably a way to deconstruct items that you already have from materials. But again, that's just speculation, and I'm just going off of what previous other JRPGs have done in terms of having like weapon shops and item shops. Then again, here we get that theme again, that recurring theme of being enslaved or being captured or imprisoned. And this is interesting here because if we go frame by frame, the two girls from the beginning, the two attendants of Igor, are present here. So I'm assuming this is the first time that you actually encounter Igor in the Velvet Room. So this is probably the Velvet Room. You could tell by the textures of the pillars here in its purplish hue. So this is the Velvet Room, and I think this is the first time you meet him, and I guess this is where he, for the first time, gives you the contract to, I guess, become a Persona user or whatever trouble you get into. And I kind of found it funny that this was somewhat of a throwback to Catherine. He looks very similar to the main character from Catherine too, so I thought that was kind of funny. Maybe we'll see some recurring themes from that. But here we get first glimpse of the combat. He is using a handgun here, and it looks like they are doing an all-out attack. And if you guys were not familiar, I mean, in Persona 3, I think that's where it started. When you stagger an opponent to a certain point, you can attack all at once with your main characters, and here it is. All of them are using their projectiles. You have the main character using his handgun, and what it looks like here, if you go up frame by frame, his compatriot there with the blonde hair is using a shotgun, and the cat next to him is using a slingshot. I'm not so sure what the girl is using, but she's using something nonetheless. But from this, you could tell that there is some melee combat. So she's using a whip here. He's using a metal pipe, and then he's using what kind of looks like a scimitar or a sword. The first time I looked at it, it kind of looked like a scimitar, as you can see from right here. Kind of looks like a sword to me. But yeah, she has a whip, he has a pipe, and he has a sword. And here's another all-out attack, but this time using the melee weapons that each are accustomed with. And then that's pretty much all I had, all my main takeaways in terms of gameplay and references to the older series. I think most importantly is what happens at the end. Now, they have yet to show what a persona is, or what the persona looks like, or his persona rather. It looks like he's taking off his mask, and in doing so, he is becoming the persona. And it kind of goes back to that theme that, you know, persona is just something that lies within you, and he's awakening that persona, therefore he becomes the persona. So, and it kind of makes sense too, because in Japanese culture, they're big advocates of the whole like transformation or henshin type thing, like the Sentai Warriors, like Power Rangers, like that's a big thing when they do like superhero type characters. And I mean, let's face it, when you look back at the costumes here, like look, I mean, they look like superheroes, like from a Sentai. You got like the masked warriors and everything. They're pretty much common warriors, I guess you could call them. Like Kamen Rider, like common, anything that wears a mask is called common something. So they're all wearing masks like superheroes. So it makes sense that this transformation that happens at the end is quite frankly the literal transformation from him, from going from a human to a persona, or his persona, persona's physical form. And boom, he becomes a persona. So yeah, thanks for watching my analysis. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took some really interesting bits from it. If there were any details that I missed out on, or if there were any mistranslations that I have explained in this video, please let me know in the comments below. Please rate and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. One very important topic I forgot to mention is the fact that she may be the only girl in the game, at least the only main character female in the game, and that's not gonna cut it, Alice. Persona 4, I dated Chie, I dated Yukiko, I dated Marie, I dated Rise. I dated every single girl in that game without any negative consequence, and I don't care if you had to choose one girl at Valentine's Day. I dated all of them, and I was proud of it. This game better have at least 2 or 3 more girls. There's no way that I'm gonna be caught dead dating this girl. I mean, if there is any remote chance that you can even date in the game, ugh. Well, I guess she is kind of cute. Maybe.